Thank you, Ashlyn.
Yeah, absolutely. So I promise, guys, I am going to keep this as fun as possible. I know insurance is not a super sexy topic, but we're going to talk a little bit about some fun stuff and share some gruesome stories. So please stick around. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ashlin Haddon. I am the owner of Ashlin Haddon Insurance. We are located in Indiana. I've got a team of women here that eat, breathe, and live on Amazon, just like you guys. My first career was in banking. I decided to get into insurance on a whim. One of my friends came to me and said, hey, this company is hiring and I need you to go interview for this position so I get a bonus. And I was like, one, I do not want to be an insurance person. I don't like the sleazy insurance people. And she's like, yeah, but I'll get a bonus. Could you at least just take the interview? So I did the interview just so she could get the bonus. And when I was doing the interview, the gentleman said that this was a man's industry and that those men will outsell you every day. So I said, I'll take the job and I'll prove you wrong. I was rookie of the year, top rep in the state, third in the entire company, accepted my award on stage and texted him a picture and said, who can't sell insurance now? So that's kind of how I got into insurance. But then I was doing home, auto, life insurance. And one of my clients came to me and said, hey, I sell on Amazon and they need some kind of insurance. And I was like, I don't know anything about Amazon. I didn't even know that there was third-party sellers on Amazon. I thought Amazon did everything. And I told him basically just to go away, that I didn't know enough to help. And he kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And so I finally got a carrier to do it. And he came back and he's like, hey, I'm in this Facebook group in this community. There's 13,000 of us in this group. Can I post your information? And so I was like, yeah, that's fine. And then I was call after call of sellers just worried that nobody would listen to them. Nobody knew what they were talking about. They felt like that redheaded stepchild, and I fell in love. And so we're 5 years into our agency, an independent agency, and I'm in love with this community. So thanks for having me on, Sean. So let me give you an idea of what we're going to talk about today. So my philosophy is super simple. You've worked hard to build your business. I'm going to work even harder to protect it. So today you are going to have to give a little bit of participation for me. We're going to play a game called Just the Tip. I'm going to call you to the carpet. We're going to go through some of the platform recalls and some other ways that you can protect your assets. So I think there's the chat box, right? Sean, I can see the chat box.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You should be able to see the chat box.
All right. So keep calm. It's just the tip. In the chat box, I want to see some numbers, guys, some real numbers. How much do you think the tip is worth? So let me give you the story. So this is a real claim. It was an RA seller who was selling on Amazon. They were selling a watermelon cutter, kind of like the watermelon cutter right here. The lady a 37-year-old female purchased the watermelon cutter. And when she was cutting the watermelon, the handle broke right here and the tip of her finger got slid underneath and cut the tip of her finger off. So in the chat box, tell me how much you think the tip of the finger was worth. Remember, this wasn't a private label product. She was just RA. So there's no judgment. It's just the legal fees. So when you have
this is morbid, Ashlyn.
I know, right?
I'm sorry, guys. This is PG-13 for gore. I just about lost my lunch here. So we're seeing 10 million, 50 million, 150,000, 50,000.
All right, you guys are way out. Okay, so there's no judgment for this because it wasn't their private label product, but it was $36,000 in legal fees just to get the name dropped from the lawsuit. So Let's say that this was a product that somebody bought RA from Walmart and all you're doing is reselling it online. It was still $36,000 in legal fees to get the name dropped from the lawsuit. So they're saying, hey, we're not responsible for this. This is a manufacturer defect. It's not our client's responsibility, but it was $36,000. So we're going to go one more. I need your guys' help with, if it'll go. How much is my hip worth? So this is a gentleman who bought something on Amazon. It was fulfilled FBA, shipped to this gentleman's house, and he came out of the house, tripped over the box, and broke his hip and broke his wrist. How much do you think it costs in legal fees to defend them from the lawsuit? Again, RAOA wholesale type of situation. This customer tripped over a box and sued our client.
So legal fees, 75,000, 50,000, 50,000, 500,000.
So they were close to 50. So it was $53,000.
So we went from the tip to the hip. This is crazy. We go from the tip to the hip, and then you can't even hide this guy's junk out of the picture here. This is sorry for those of you watching from home.
So again, remember, we hear all the time people say, well, I don't sell anything risky. I can't be sued. This is proof right here that you could be sued for anything. I see somebody over here in the chat said, glad I live in Canada. But if you're selling on the .com platform, then you are absolutely subject to something like this. Somebody is stupid and trips over a box and you're pulled into a lawsuit. So what does Amazon require? If y'all can just read the rules, it'd be great. But nobody ever does. So we're going to figure out real quick if you need insurance or not. So I'm going to read through these very, very quickly because I don't have a whole lot of time, but I want you all to like mentally stand up. And when I read these questions, if the answer is yes, then I want you to sit down because everybody should be sitting down by the time I am done with this. So do you sell anything that goes on the body? Do you sell anything that goes in the body? Do you sell anything that touches food or a drink? That can be silverware. That could be a coffee cup, anything like that. Anything for a child, anything for a pet, anything that plugs into the wall, anything that is breakable, anything that has components that go together and take apart that is smaller than the size of a grape. Anything used for fitness, outdoor, recreation, camping, fires, anything like that. Anything that has a motor, anything that a consumer would install themselves. So that could be something like a light fixture, or that could be something like a faucet, or anything that they're physically going to install themselves. Anything medical, or that could be perceived as medical or PPE. So even if you're selling like vinyl gloves to work out in the garden, somebody could perceive that as PPE and say that they're going to use it when they're trying to protect themselves from COVID. Anything with a battery, anything flammable, anything that has a chemical, or anything that could be used as a weapon. So it doesn't have to be a pew pew, but it could be like brass knuckles, something like that. So raise your hand or put in the chat if you have something that you sell that is not one of those. Oh, Josh says he's still standing. All right, Josh, you got to tell us what you're selling. All right, so what does Amazon require you to have? So even if you're an online retailer or you're brick and mortar, there's 3 huge things that we require, that we suggest that you have: general liability, product liability, and business personal property. So let's break down what those are. Okay, so general liability, that's going to be what you do or say as a business. This is going to be things like this chapstick is going to make your lips look plump and voluptuous. And I say, no, that's false advertisement. This chapstick doesn't make my lips look false or plump and voluptuous. That's general liability. That's what you do or say as a business. Now, product liability is going to be what your products do to harm someone else. So this chapstick, I put it on and it breaks out my lips and I have an allergic reaction or whatever. That's product liability. That's what my product does to harm the consumer. So your general liability is going to be what you do or say as a business. Product liability is going to be what your products do to harm someone else. The other big thing that we suggest that you have is BPP, business personal property, stock insurance, and whatever you want to call it. If you are, especially if you are working from home, a lot of people say, well, my homeowner's insurance is going to cover the $10,000 in inventory in my basement and the $30,000 of inventory in my garage and $20,000 of inventory in my mom's garage and my cousin's garage and all of these different places. Guys, it is not covered under a standard homeowner's policy unless you can convince your insurance company that you have 10,000 toothbrushes because you only brush your teeth one time with the toothbrush and you throw it out and you need another one. They're going to know it's for a business and it's not going to be covered under your homeowner's insurance. So having business inventory is crucial. Now we'll talk about in a few minutes about having inventory at 3PLs in a few minutes. So every platform that you're selling on is different. Amazon in the past has been very, very lackadaisical about asking for proof of insurance. Then a while ago, they came out and said, hey, we're changing the rules. Once you hit 3 consecutive months of $10,000 in sales, then we're going to require it. Then this happened and they changed the rules again. So anybody remember the hoverboard that exploded? Hands up in the chat. Okay. For those of you who don't remember, there was a hoverboard in the garage of this family's home and it caught on fire. In the home, the children and the mother and father were still in the house when it caught on fire. They ended up having to jump from the 2nd story of the house, and they ended up suing the manufacturer of the hoverboard for $30 million. Now, the amount that was negotiated was never disclosed, but they did file suit for $30 million. And who do you think they listed in the lawsuit? Okay, here it is. Amazon.com was on there and the third-party seller. So they listed the seller, they listed the manufacturer, they listed the platform they were selling on. They are going to list everyone who has ever touched that product. So Amazon was like, hey, we are so sick and darn tired of getting sued for products that you, the third-party sellers, are putting on the platform. They are saying, hey, we're going to protect our assets. You need to protect yours. So Amazon came out with a bunch of new rules. So you want to read this? I'm just kidding. Blah, blah, blah. Buy an insurance policy. That's what it says. They say that they want you to have a general liability with products completed or product liability to protect you. They don't want their insurance company or their insurance policy to pay anymore. So now they're saying, hey, if you have an A to Z claim, we're going to pay the first $1,000. And after that, it's on you. And they are now really, really, really policing it. As soon as you hit that $10,000 mark in 1 month, they are sending you that nasty gram to say, hey, we realized you hit that threshold. We need you to provide a certificate of insurance. And if you're not providing that certificate of insurance, they will send you one more notice and then they are suspending. We have had a lot of clients come in and say, well, you know what? I don't want to spend that money on the insurance. I've sold for 14 years on this platform and they've never asked. They're not going to suspend me. And guess what? They got suspended. So I think it's probably worth not getting suspended over, but If you're selling on multiple platforms, there are a lot of platforms that will require you to have that certificate of insurance up front before even getting approved to be on their platform. So like Bed Bath & Beyond and Jane and Home Depot and Lowe's, those types of platforms will require you to have that in place before you can even get on their platform. So make sure that we're doing that before you even look. All right, so what else can you do? Actually, before we get to that, I'm going to answer one of these questions in the chat. So Amazon does require the online class code. So if you have a current business policy that is for your brick and mortar, you absolutely, depending on your carrier, you can add the class code for online retail. So if you have any questions on your current policy, or you're like, hey, Ashlyn, I'm not sure if I have the right thing, always just email us, sales@ashlinhattoninsurance.com. You can say, hey, here, I was in the masterclass and I saw your presentation and here's my policy. Can you just let me know if I have the right stuff or not? I am brutally honest. So I will tell you, yeah, this is crap and you're going to need different coverages, or say, absolutely, this looks great and you're good to go. So if you ever have any questions on your current coverages and if you have the right stuff, absolutely reach out to us. Sorry, I have the hiccups. Okay. So what else can you do to protect your business? Business, personal property, and transit is really, really big for those people who are doing more of the RA. If you're going from Kohl's and you have $10,000 in product in your car, and then you stop at Walmart on the way home and you're getting more product, but your car's broken into, and you have that property in your car, it's not covered under your auto insurance. So having that property in transit is really, really crucial for those people who are actually physically sourcing still out and about in the world. Work comp is really important for those of you who have employees, true employees. For example, we have a leader in this industry that I have insured, and his executive assistant stood up and she hit the back of her head on a wall sconce. And she was 23 years old and she sued for over $10 million because she had permanent brain damage and thought that she was never going to be able to work again. So this girl who made $20-some an hour potentially could cost him millions of dollars if he didn't have workers' comp insurance. So really what workers' comp says is if you're an employee and you get hurt on the job, we're going to take care of you. If you have warehouse workers, you have people with opening boxes with box cutters, things like that, this is so super crucial for you to have. All right. I know this is crazy, a lot of stuff, but trying to make it fairly quickly here. So 3PLs and prep centers. I'm assuming a lot of you use 3PLs and prep centers. If you are using a 3PL or prep center, you have got to, one, pick up the phone and call your prep center. Ask them, do you cover my property while it's in your care, custody, and control? If they say yes, then say, prove it. Give me a certificate of insurance that proves that you are covering my products. If you feel comfortable with that, that's fine. But realize at any point in time, they can cancel that coverage and you are screwed. Okay. I always say, I know what I can control. And if I can control it, then I'm going to put it on my policy because then I know that it's covered and there's nothing that could happen that I wouldn't know about. If it's covered today at a prep center and they stop paying for it tomorrow and they have a fire, you were out that entire amount of product that you have at that prep center. So if you've got $50,000 in inventory in a prep center and they stop paying their coverage, or stop paying their insurance, and there's a fire or a theft, you're screwed. So control what you can control. And if you want to be able to control this situation, add this to your policy, guys. It's so inexpensive, unless you're in like California, then it's a little bit more expensive. But just add it to your policy and know that it's covered and covered the right way. Okay, I'm looking at some of these notes as I'm going through, make sure I don't have questions. Catherine's asking about the TikTok. Seth, Sean said, did you tell them about my cat video? Is that why they're asking?
No, we had a presentation on using TikTok influencers. That's funny.
Oh, okay. I thought they were
There's
talking
a lot
about
of jokesters out here. They're moving to America and they're going to do a slip and fall so they can collect on some of this stuff. So, I love the way you make insurance fun, Ashlyn.
Yeah.
Continue.
Sounds good. All right. So key man insurance is big if you have a key person in your business with you. So a lot of our clients are husband and wife. A lot of our clients are two business partners. And if one of your business partners were to pass away, could you sustain and run that business on your own without any financial assistance? If the answer to that is no, then a key man policy is really, really important. And it's like life insurance. You die, you get paid. But what it can do is can help hire a coach, can hire somebody else, can hire a new CEO, could buy out somebody from the business, like anything that you wanted to do to continue to run the business, you could do with this policy. So if there's two of you that run this business together, a key man policy is really important. Cargo insurance. This is a little crazy expensive right now. I know, because there's a lot of issues with cargo and ships being, let's just call it stuck, right? But if you're shipping large amounts of items from overseas, cargo insurance can be very, very helpful. Especially if you're shipping a whole container, definitely cargo insurance. Now you can buy cargo insurance per transaction. So if you're just shipping one container over, you can purchase like a one-time cargo insurance policy, or you can purchase a year-long cargo policy for a flat dollar amount, and it would cover every single time you ship an item. So several times a year if you're doing that. So if you're shipping anything, air, sea, those types of situations, then cargo insurance is important. Commercial auto, kind of like I was talking about with the property in transit, if you are using your personal vehicle for business use and you get in a car accident and are held liable, your personal auto insurance can deny your claim. Let me say that again. This is important. If you're using your personal vehicle for business purposes, which means you're sourcing, you're running back and forth to the UPS store, you're running to Sam's Club, you're doing all of these different things. You're using that personal vehicle for business use, and you are found liable for a auto accident. Your personal auto insurance can deny your claim because you're using your personal vehicle for business operations. So my first suggestion is call your car insurance company and say, am I covered for business use? That's what it's called, business use. If you're not, then ask if they can add an endorsement to your current policy. Hey, can you add business use to my current policy? If they say no and you want a quote, give us a call. We can give you a commercial auto quote, or we can give you a personal lines quote for business use. Or if you buy a commercial auto policy, it becomes a direct write-off because it is a direct cost to your business. You could get that commercial auto policy. So two different things that you could do. The cheapest, of course, is going to be to add it to your personal policy. If you can't do that, then having a commercial auto policy is fine. Commercial auto policies are tax write-offs. So if you need some tax write-offs, commercial auto policy is the way to go. Okay. That's a lot of questions, or a lot of information really, really quick. So I'm going to go through, since I do have a few more minutes, typical questions that we get. But if you have any in the meantime, drop them in the chat, and I'll get to those too. But one of the biggest questions we get is, what's the cost? Everybody wants to know, hey, how much is it going to cost to do this? And I hate to be the person who says it depends, but it really does depend. So it's going to depend on what you're selling, how you're sourcing. So if you're sourcing overseas or you're sourcing locally, if you're an RAOA wholesaler, if you're private label, all of those situations, and then how much you're selling. So insurance is all about risk, right? What is the risk that you're going to have a claim? And the insurance company is going to have to pay out. That's That's all insurance is. They want to make sure that they're getting more premium from you than the risk to pay out. So the higher the sales, the higher your premium is going to be. So don't ever say, well, Johnny down the road pays $500 a year and I pay $700 a year. And why? Well, because Johnny might sell less. Johnny might have less products. Johnny might have less risky products. So you never can compare your policy to somebody else's unless you sell the exact same thing, the exact same sales, the exact same manufacturers, and everything is the same. So just remember what you sell, where you're sourcing from, and how much you're selling are all super important when you're trying to find the price. If you're an RAOA wholesale seller, your price typically, if you're doing like under $250,000, is around the like $450 to $700 a year range. Okay. If you're private label or you're doing more in sales, you might be in the $1,000 a year range. Again, it all depends. But we're a brokerage company. We have 53 different companies. We look at your risk, what you're doing, where you're selling, where you're sourcing from, how you're sourcing, how you're using your vehicle, all of those different things. And we place you with the carrier that's best for your risk and the best price. So don't be hoodwinked by some of these online companies right now that are really pushing, hey, come buy a policy from us for $25 a month. And you look at their quote and on the face, it looks like it's the same coverage. It's $1 million liability and $1 million liability. But I'm telling you, we spend all day, every day reading these policies. Nobody likes to do it. It's 75 pages of boringness, but I promise you, there are differences. You get what you pay for. If you buy a $25 a month policy from an online company who just does artificial intelligence and really doesn't know what you're doing, you're going to get $25 coverage. You need an agent who knows what you're doing and how you're sourcing to look at those products and say, okay, hey, I see this product over here that's shipped from China. Did you know that this policy over here for $25 a month has an exclusion in the 75 pages in back that says any product that is manufactured in China is excluded from your product liability? Okay. Did you know that there's products on Amazon's accelerator platform right now that excludes any products that is made for a child? Okay. It is a very broad exclusion, made for a child. Is this water bottle made for a child? Is this binky made for a child? Is this blanket made for a child? Like there's so much in these policies that nobody looks at. So please just make sure you have an agent who knows what you know, but doesn't do what you do. There's an agency out there that are all sellers. Okay. You guys protect your brands and your selling, what you're selling like crazy. So why would you use an agent that sells online too? Like, why would you give them that information? We have to know what you're selling, where you're sourcing from, how much you're selling. So why give that to someone else? And then I think last frequently asked question that we get, and then we'll open it up for Q&A, is what are your high risk products? What is the things that cause the most claims? New in 2022, the highest claim that we've seen on Amazon is coffee makers. So coffee makers exploding. We've had coffee makers that have caused fires. We've had coffee makers who cause burns. So coffee makers this year is like the top risk thing. But anything that goes on your body, so your clothing, topicals, lotions, makeups, those types of things in your body. So your ingestibles, food, drinks, protein shakes, those types of things, for a pet and for a child. For some reason, we like our kids and we like our pets and we sue like crazy for them. One of our other claims that we had was on a pet leash. I'm sorry, it wasn't my claim, but we saw it was a pet leash. They were selling the like retractable leash and the leash broke and sprung back and hit the surgeon in the eye. And the surgeon sued because now he couldn't perform surgeries anymore because his vision was off. So On the body, in the body, for a pet, for a child, or anything outdoor or exercise equipment. So those are your top 6. Resistance bands, even like workout videos, those kinds of things. We've seen lots and lots of claims on that. So top 6, on the body, in the body, for a pet, for a child, outdoor and exercise equipment. Those are your like super, super high risk things that you need to make sure that you've got coverages for those. That's my 30 minutes, Sean. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Amazing, Ashlin. Thank you, like I said before, for making insurance fun. As you know, I am a recovering insurance agent, and you make me almost want to jump back into the game. But to be fair, I used to own a used car lot too. Don't throw anything. Don't throw anything. Yeah. So, Seth.
Yes. Glad to be back. So Ashlin, you had some people saying, sign me up. Yeah, she'll be hearing from me, and don't sell coffee makers. So great presentation from Catherine. Yes. Thank you so much, Ashlin. So if anybody has any questions for Ashlin before we get out of here, then let's see here. Then let us know.
Remember Air Stick, because you're going to be hearing from them.
All right.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So John,
the website is going to be ecom.insure to contact.
Yeah, I'll paste that to everybody. Ashlin,
I'm on Facebook, guys. If you want to reach out to me on Messenger, you absolutely can. If you're outsourcing and you're like, hey, I really like this item, what do you think? Take a picture of it and text it to me. I'll tell you, stay away, or yeah, that looks fine. So don't ever hesitate to reach out.
So let's do something fun here. So William says, I have my company insurance through Ashlin, and they're amazing. So William, if you're willing, we'd like to turn your mic on. You come over here and toot her horn a little bit. Let's embarrass her.
That's awesome.
So yeah, William, if that's okay, just say yes, William, and I'll we'll get you mic'd up here and we'll talk to you a little bit. So Drew says, do you do insurance for online apps, like fitness apps, not just physical products?
Yes. So we do everything except health insurance. So we can do auto, home, life insurance. We can do online retail. We could do brick and mortar, everything in between, gurus and vloggers, everything except health insurance. Don't ask me for health insurance. I'll tell you to go away.
All right. So I'm going to go find William here. And he says that William says that he'll talk to us. So assuming everything is alphabetical, William, you should be allowed to talk now. You just unmute yourself, man.
Hello, folks, and thank you for allowing me to speak. Yeah, I can say that Sean, Seth, and Ashlin, you guys are amazing. So hats off to each of you.
So you actually use Ashlin Had Insurance then, right?
I absolutely do. My company's Awesome Co. And, I took a course in 2021, came highly recommended like yourself. And so I immediately called her. And what was interesting, when she speaks about the insurance policy changes within Amazon, they were on the board. I was one of those unfortunate sellers. I was doing wholesale at the time that, got the first naughty letter, but I immediately called her firm, and the ladies in the office, like you said, were amazing. They got right on it within, less than probably a couple hours. I had the documents I had, and I sent to Amazon, and I was good to go. So, it's a main thing is like, you kind of have to have the Johnny on the spot, or the Ashlin. I call him the Ashlin on the spot right now. She's exactly right. She saved our business and kept our account from being suspended, which again, when you're new to the industry, it's important to align yourself with trusted advisors that actually know what they're doing.
And I think, William, when you go online and you find some of these companies that are offering the $25 policies, yeah, it looks great on the outside, but do you think they're in the communities like this? They're not at the conferences. They're not invested in the community. So if my policy is $50 more a year, it's worth when Amazon changes the rules, I reach out to you and say, hey, did you know that Amazon changed the rules? And here's what you need to do today so you don't get suspended. The next insurance companies and these online platforms, they don't care. They're not going to do that. That's going to be on you to figure that out. So sometimes you get what you pay for. Sometimes it's worth $50 more a year to have someone say, hey, I got your back.
Well, I could certainly attest to that, because my personal insurance agent, he's like yourself, like a broker and so forth. He had absolutely no clue.
Yeah.
And he agreed. He goes, go with a firm that knows exactly what they're doing. It's kind of like lawyers that have a niche, right? For slip and falls or things like that. They specialize in that. So your niche is the Amazon game.
Yeah,
and
you guys
I'm
are my
certainly
people.
grateful for it.
I love what Drew says in the comments. Drew says those cheap policies are only about ticking the box on Amazon. They're not actually about protecting you. So,
Right, and like,
well said.
I hate to say, like, I don't ever want to badmouth a company, but like we sell for every policy that's on Amazon's Exceller program, we sell those too. So if somebody comes to us and say, hey, I just need the policy to get Amazon off my back, then yes, we'll help. But I'm going to say, here's where you're missing. You are opening up yourself for litigation here, 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 here. So at least I know that I have protected you the right way. And if you choose to buy a $350 policy that is not going to protect you, then that's on you. That's on you, boo.
At least you did your job, right? No
Right,
errors
right.
and omissions there.
Well,
Yeah,
William, thank you
ignorance
so
is-
much for being part of our family.
Just remember this: ignorance is not bliss in the business world.
Yeah, they won't stand up in court.
Right?
Thanks a lot, William.
Yeah, thank you, folks.
Thanks, William.
All right, Ashlyn, what do you have to say for yourself? You got a happy client out there.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I love that. I
All
love
right,
to like
so-
when somebody posts something like, who do you use for insurance? And there's like 19 tags with my name. I'm like, all right, I got the first 2 tags. I'm on it.
Yep, you got the tags.
But
It was
it's
funny,
great.
Seth, I stopped to talk to Kurt Denny the other day. Well, yesterday, because I was in the neighborhood. I was going to Ashlyn's office, and I started talking about where I was going. I was like, I got to get out of here. I have 5 minutes. And he goes, well, where are you going? I told him, he's like, I know her. I know Ashlyn. He pulls out his phone. He's like, look, there's an email right there where I got introduced from a mortgage broker. This Derek's something work thing.
Not work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody knows you. You're famous.
Everybody does. Ashlyn, thanks
Always
so much for coming
Ashlyn.
on.
Hashtag.
Hashtag always Ashlyn. And then go to ecom.insure to find out more. www.ecom.insure. Ashlyn, so much fun. I know you have a
Yes.
birthday coming up in a few weeks, thanks to you letting the cat
do.
out of the bag yesterday. So
Yes.
we'll be sure to embarrass you on your birthday. What do you're
Heck
turning
yeah.
like 27, right?
Oh, I wish.
Okay,
Totally.
28, something like that.
22. Let's go with that.
Okay. All right. Forever 21. All right. Thanks a lot, Ashlyn.
Thanks,
Thank
Ashlyn.
you.
We're
Thanks
gonna
for having me,
wrap this
guys.
thing up.
Bye.
Absolutely.